I don't think I've actually ever come across a person that said to me they don't like chicken biryani. So I guess it's safe to say this is a recipe that is pretty much for everyone. We're first going to start off by finely chopping up 8 onions. We are now going to take off the skin of 1 lemon and put it to the side for later on. Now I'm going to chop up 6 potatoes, followed by 6 tomatoes. And lastly 4 green chilies. We're going to put this all to the side as we will come back to it later. Now to a pan we are going to add in 2 cups of oil and the onions that we have just chopped up. We don't want to cook these onions for too long. We are just going to brown these onions. These are a very important part of the biryani. You don't want to overcook them and you don't want to undercook them. They should be looking brown and should have a soft texture. Now this is an optional step. We've added some food coloring to our potatoes. And now to the same pan that we have just fried our onions in, we're going to add a series of some spices. These are in, of course, the description below. We've now added in 2 tablespoons of some ginger and garlic paste and 2 kilograms of some chicken legs and chicken breast. Now we are going to add 1.5 tablespoons of some salt, 1 tablespoon of some green chili paste. This is then closely followed by 1.5 tablespoons of some red chili powder. We've now also added in 1 teaspoon of some red chili, 1.5 teaspoons of some turmeric, 1.5 tablespoons of some paprika, 1.5 tablespoons of some coriander powder, 1 teaspoon of some cumin powder, 1 teaspoon of some black pepper, and now separately to a blender we have added in a can of some tinned tomatoes. We have now blended these up and added them to our chicken. We're going to give this a nice mix together and make sure that the chicken is fully covered in the masala that we have just created. We're now going to add in 1.5 teaspoons of some cumin seeds and we're going to mix that in nice and well. Now back to our blender, we're going to add in 6 tablespoons of some yogurt and a handful of some of the onions that we did fry up earlier on in the process. We're going to give this a nice blend together, making sure that it forms a paste-like consistency, and then we are going to add that to our chicken. We're now going to mix this all nice and well, and then we are going to add in 4 tomatoes to the mixture. We're also going to add in 4 green chilies that we cut up earlier on, 1 teaspoon of some nutmeg and mace powder, followed by the juice of a lime. Now separately to another pan, we are going to be cooking up our rice. So we are going to add in to our water a range of some spices, followed by 1 teaspoon of some salt. Now we're going to add in our rice and we're going to give this a quick mix, and then we're going to cook our rice. Once our rice is cooked, we're going to take it out and drain it and then leave it to the side for later on. Now we are going to layer up our biryani. So we're first going to add in the chicken masala that we created. This is then followed by the potatoes. This is then followed by the onions that we fried earlier on. Now we are going to add in the lemon that we cut up, and a few pieces, you don't want to put in too much. I'm going to add a little bit of some coriander in there also to the mix, and then we are going to add in our rice. This is one of the most important parts when it comes to biryani. We're going to get 2 layers in the exact same formation of the chicken, followed by the potatoes, the onions, the coriander, and the rice. We're going to do this twice. You can of course do this one time depending on how many people you're making the biryani for, but of course the ideal level is twice. We've also added in some clarified butter to the top, and we've also saved a little bit of that oil that we fried the onions in earlier, and we've added it to the top. We've also added in some Kewra water and some nutmeg and spice powder on the top. We're also going to add a dash of some food coloring to give a little bit of color to the biryani, and we've added in a handful of some onions. This is now going to be placed on a very low heat for approximately 20 minutes. This is what is also known as dum and gives the biryani its iconic name, dum biryani. The rice should be looking nice and fluffy, the biryani should be smelling absolutely fantastic, and it should essentially be looking like this. This has to be hands down the best biryani recipe I've ever tried, and I'm not saying this because it's made by my mum, but because you just got to try it for yourself.